Alright, hello everyone, it's me Mulberry. This is an update video for Flashback 0.33.0. The first change I'm going to show you is a change to do with interpolation. So let's create a camera here. We're going to start, the camera's going to start here, and the camera's going to end here. And let's add a speed keyframe. Let's move the speed keyframe up here. Set this to 3x. So essentially the description is that interpolation for non-time keyframes now uses real-time instead of ticks. In essence, what this means is if you have a speed transition that occurs like midway through a camera movement, the camera movement now will no longer slow up or speed down. So to demonstrate that, let me turn it off real quick. So this was the old behavior here, right? And you can see basically the speed of the camera, the interpolation of the camera is tied to the speed of the game. Now, if you go into preferences and you turn on use real-time interpolation, which is the new default, it'll now interpolate in real time. And so you can see the camera movement here is now the same time. You can see initially I'm walking slowly and then, everything is happening quickly, but the camera movement itself will interpolate at the same speed. The second big change is that I've added block override tracking. So block changes that occur in creative mode now persist. So in order for this to happen, you need to pause the timeline. Timeline has to be paused for it to save changes. And then you can either use /game mode creative, or you can use F3, F4 to switch into creative. And then you can place some blocks like this and go back. And what you'll notice now is that this new track called block override is added. And if we go backwards here, you can see the blocks disappear, and if we play it forwards, the blocks will appear again. Now, the blocks aren't guaranteed to appear. Like if you have like a super long, timeline, and you have like some block override at, minute 0, and then, you're trying to play the replay at minute, 100, they won't necessarily override. In order for the block overrides to be guaranteed to be applied, I would recommend, doing the overrides basically at the beginning of your export. So, doing it something like this, and then just doing your export like so. And then if you do it this way, you can be guaranteed that the block overrides get applied. Okay. Now, there's some cool stuff you can do with this, right? Of course. So we can do some sort of animated things. So let's go over here. Let's place a block. Then let's use the right arrow to step forwards a tick. We can place another block, place another block, place another block, go forwards, place another block. And so I've just created sort of this animation here, which looks like that. That's a cool thing you can do with it. Of course, you can use commands. You can use /fill commands. So fill -10, -10, -10, 10, 10, 10, air. You can see this changes is also remembered. So you can do that. You can, set up green screens. I haven't tested, but I'm pretty sure that world edit will work as well. So, if you go in here and you want to world edit some stuff away, or you want to, modify something, or let's say, even something simple, like let's say, for example, you're trying to do a shot, but like this dead bush is in the way, right? I'm trying to do like a panning shot over here, but, this dead bush is in the way. Well, now you can just simply remove the dead bush, and that change will get saved. Of course, you can move these keyframes around. And if you want to, get rid of all your changes, you can just delete the keyframes, or you can delete the entire track if you want to get rid of them. Then, of course, they won't get applied anymore. So that's the block overrides, which are pretty cool. Now a couple of smaller features. So next up I added a copy relative button to the camera keybind right-click menu. So basically, if we have some camera path like this, what we can do is we can select these keyframes, right-click, we can do copy relative, and we can tick, for example, copy relative to position. Now, if we copy this, and if we, move over here, and I move over this way, and I paste it, make sure the timeline is selected, then Control-V, you can see that the same keyframes, the same relative positions that were here got pasted over here. As you saw, you could also copy it with your. So if we're facing the keyframes this way, we can copy with your as well. We can then, turn 90 degrees, and then if we paste it again, you can see it's, relative to the yaw. You can also copy with pitch, although copy with pitch can get a little bit weird with how it behaves, especially because, you know, pitch is clamped. So I'd only recommend using copy relative to pitch if you know what you're doing. But yeah, that's the copy relative thing. So the main thing this is intended for is if you want to have a bunch of like preset camera movements, you can now do that, because all you need to do is, you know, copy relative, copy that, you know, then you can open up, you know, Notepad or Word or whatever text processing you want, and, you know, you can paste it in. This is what it looks like. And then, you know, whenever you want to use it again, all you need to do is select it, copy it. Obviously, I'm using Vim, but pretend it's like Notepad or something, and then, you know, you can paste it like that. Okay, so cool. Next up is a hide text below name checkbox. So let me jump into a different replay to show this. So let's go onto everyone's favorite server, Hypixel Skyblock. And, you know, this is, for example, Hypixel, maybe some other servers use this sort of below name scoreboard thing. And now you can right click on someone and choose hide text below name, and that will hide that text, like so. That is useful if you want to make, you know, a bit of a nicer shot. There is also, if we jump back over to here, the ability to hide capes. So if I find someone with a cape, like this person here, I can right click, choose hide cape. So if you want to get rid of capes for your shot, you can do that. And lastly, there is a open folder button when you're exporting. So if I go and I export here, and I do an export like so, once the export is done, there'll be this export finish thing, and if you were to click on this, it would should open it in your file browser. Now, I don't have a file browser, so it doesn't work for me, but hopefully it works for you. And that is Flashback 0.33.0. So hope you find some of these features useful. That's it from me. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.